Ashtanga happened to me by accident. For a very brief time, I practiced what then I got to know was Hatha Yoga, which was about holding postures for quite some time and you just stay there, right? Yoga was mainly being taught online because of the COVID and all of that. But I somehow felt practicing in front of a teacher, that physical presence is completely the energy is different, right? And I came with that ambition of doing this on my own. And
Vanakkam, Namaste, and hello everyone. Welcome to the 77th episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Aamani Reddy. Aamani Reddy, an alumna of BITS-Pilani, Mechanical Engineering, and Singapore Management University, MBA, spent over a decade in diverse roles within the global corporate sector. What started as a home yoga practice during the pandemic soon became central to her lifestyle. A dedicated practitioner of the dynamic and demanding Ashtanga style, she deepened her knowledge with international certifications from Rishikesh, Mysore, and the US. She is now an RYT 500 certified yoga instructor with Yoga Alliance. Her passion for fashion also saw her recognized as a finalist in Mrs. India 2023. In 2024, she launched Pure Fuel, a premium yoga brand, healthy cafe, and retail studio in Hyderabad. It is a pleasure to welcome Aamani on the Inside the Minds of Great Yogis podcast. Let's give a big round of applause to Aamani.
thank you, Swati. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Yeah.
Hi, Aamani. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, always. That's going to be my response, right? Because I love to embrace every day as it comes. So life is always beautiful. Yeah.
Lovely. So we'll get started. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. So the first question that I have for you today is, how did your journey of yoga begin?
Um, I think I would like to put it this way. I am one of those few blessed souls for whom yoga has come. I didn't go to yoga. And I strongly believe now that being a teacher, teaching for the last 3 years, looking at many students come and go, it's with that deep realization that nobody can come to yoga if they want to. Yoga has to come into to you, you know. So to put the long story very, very short, I have been a fitness freak all my life, starting from my teenage. I started off as a runner, and then transitioned into trying many different kinds of movement or exercise. Like I think like many women can resonate with, it was mainly for like, looking a certain way. It was for weight loss and things like that. And I think I took it a notch higher during it kind of coincided with the pandemic, but I delivered my baby in 2017. And post which I really wanted to shed all that weight which I was not at all very happy with. And kind of, I can put it this way, that I kind of abused the body, using all kinds of weird diets, restrictive diets, and then working out morning and evening until a point where my hormones have really created a havoc. And I lost my periods. Okay, so that was the first time I heard the word called amenorrhea. And this was something which was a total shock to me, because I thought this can happen only to women in the later age. I didn't know something like that could actually happen to anybody. And then the doctor then advised me that you should start yoga, and my first reaction, I still remember, I'm like, are you nuts? Because I know the doctor really well. I'm like, who does yoga? Yoga is for the elderly people who can't do anything. So why would I even do yoga, right? But then he said, that's your only go-to, because if you want your health to be normal, this is where you have to, this is the only thing that you can do. Not that the doctor had much idea about what yoga is. And then started my, half-hearted attempts to get onto the mat, do those things. The one good trait that I always possess is I don't leave anything in like, I just don't try it for 2, 3 days and I just leave it. When I'm asked to do something, and that was my only way to move my body, I slowly started just living it. I don't know when the transition really took place, but when I started stepping onto the mat, it was just the mat and me and myself. And that's where the journey has just deepened every day.
That's lovely. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
a bit about how you started your yoga journey. It's really
Yeah.
nice to hear that there. So I'm going to come into the next question that I have for you. So I believe you do Ashtanga yoga. So I
Yes.
was wondering, why did you choose Ashtanga yoga specifically, and how has this style influenced your overall approach to wellness?
Um, I think Swati, again, it's going to be a little bit of a long answer to this. So, Ashtanga happened to me by accident. For a very brief time, I practiced what then I got to know was Hatha Yoga, which was about holding postures for quite some time, and you just stay there, right? And when I decided to transition my career into health and wellness, and also because I started loving yoga, but I'm like, what do I do with this? I don't know anything I'm not born into a family which knows or encourages this. And I remember I left my master's in Michigan. At that point, I finished one semester of business analytics. I topped the university that semester, and then the flight back home was to just attend a cousin's wedding. But I don't know what got into me, and I'm like, no, I think I just can't do this anymore. And I took the flight to Rishikesh. Right. And Rishikesh, I got into some yoga institute. I was not even like doing my full-fledged research. I'm like, I just want to know more about this. And Rishikesh again taught a lot about Hatha Yoga initially, but it so happened that in one of the classes, a different teacher took the class and she said, today I'm going to introduce to what is called as the Ashtanga Yoga. And I remember at the end of 2 hours, it was just like, okay, this is for me, and this is exactly what I was looking for. It was that, I think it was the dynamic flow that happens in Ashtanga, which keeps you stay tuned with your breath throughout, and your mind is just into it. So it was a beautiful culmination of the background I came from, where I always challenged my body a little bit more physically. And then that synchronization of breath and movement through the vinyasas is what I really got hooked onto. And yeah, since then, that's been my strong practice. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that and a little bit about how you got into Ashtanga yoga. It does look like from the very beginning you definitely had that sort of passion and you tried it out. So it's
Yeah.
good to see that, how it kind of impacted you now as well. So thank you for sharing a little bit there. So, I'd like to come into the next question. So, I was wondering what inspired the founding of Jiva, and how does this academy uniquely blend yoga with physiotherapy and functional fitness?
Mm. So Jiva was my first venture with three other partners. Together, I think the universe always hears that's how manifestation happens, right? Once I was done with my yoga teacher training, I came back to my hometown and I'm like, I wanted to do something because by then, one thing I was very sure is I know on yoga was mainly being taught online because of the COVID and all of that. But I somehow felt practicing in front of a teacher, that physical presence is completely the energy is different, right? And I came with that ambition of doing this on my own. And I called up a friend who is into digital marketing and I said, just create a logo for me. And then he said that, Akka, there's this one more girl, you got to meet her. And that's how, like, four of us came together. We created Jiva because I also understand, because I'm a health and wellness coach, I understand the importance of strength training in a woman's life. Um, yes, yoga is beautiful. As a practice, you got to keep doing that. It's a lifestyle, in a way. But when it comes to strength training, I know it beautifully complements the practice of yoga and enhances your overall fitness, or even overall well-being, I would say. And these were the people who complimented me in that way. So they were qualified in strength training, functional training, and all of that. And together we thought, let's create this space so that whoever walks in, they get kind of all those things that one would be looking for in one facility. But right now, I am not a partner of Jiva anymore. After 2 years, I wanted to do my own full-fledged yoga space, and also a wellness space. And that's when I created Pure Fuel. It was launched last year in August,
Mhm.
and it's less than a year old, where we have already done the whole idea of the vision of Pure Fuel for me is to make it like a learning hub for all the yoga teachers, build a strong yoga community in my city. The reason being, Swati, because I know as a yoga teacher or as a student of yoga, learning yoga from really all these teachers is not an easy thing, especially for women who are already married. They have their lives, they have so many things going on. To kind of get an opportunity to go to these teachers and learn is a huge thing. And I myself have done that, leaving my daughter so many times. So the whole idea was to just make this a little bit more easier for the teachers, in and around the city I live in. And I'm like, let me create this space. I always got inspired by places like Goa, Bali, and Rishikesh, of course, Mysore. So that's what I intended to do. And that's when Pure Fuel happened.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that a little bit about both Jiva as well as Pure Fuel. And my next question for you is actually regarding Pure Fuel. I know you kind of answered this, but I kind of want to get into the specific. So I was wondering with Pure Fuel, I believe you've combined yoga, nutrition, and retail into the space. So I'm
Mm.
wondering, how do you envision this model transforming the wellness scene in India and beyond?
Um, so it's in a way, Pure Fuel is literally a reflection of everything I stand for. I always love the stories behind all these health and wellness brands that are coming up in India right now. People who are really nourishing through the products that they are making, and listening to these stories, I know what the challenges are, I know what the struggles are, but despite all of this, all these brands with that noble intention, they are coming up. And having seen and having gone through, literally like victim with all the processed foods that are so easily available anywhere and everywhere, right? I felt like, no, I need to play my part in this. But I, as a whenever I coach clients, I do a lot of health and wellness consultations. So I tell my clients that, this is what you can go to. This brand is good. You can reach out to them and all of that. And then I'm like, why don't I just provide that easier access, at least in my city,
Yeah.
to people who come to us and all of that. And these brands are also looking for that, right? It's not easy to shelf your products anywhere and everywhere. And even I know that many, some brands like which are here, people don't even know about it. When they come here, they're like, oh, and now Pure Fuel, the tagline is in every breath and bite. I know I wanted to create that trust for Pure Fuel, that if it is yoga, you're really going to learn yoga, and at the same time, you're going to have some food which is absolutely clean. So we don't have any refined sugar. We don't have any chemicals, preservatives, all of it. Any brand that we sell here, that means you can 100% trust that, right? So yeah, so that's how it was. And but I'm not really into envisioning what's going to be the longer game and all of that. Maybe I will, but
Yeah.
right now, probably not much.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing a bit about Pure Fuel as well, and of course your initiative with Jiva. One of the really important things I really like that you had mentioned was about strength training as well. I believe in the
Mm.
question. I think it's really important to have that balance beyond yoga. I think it's really important to also look into strength training or perhaps the gym as well. So,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that there. So now I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay.
So the first rapid fire question I have for you is you've worked with women across India. So I'm wondering what are some common challenges that you see and how do you address them through your programs?
Just one most biggest common challenge is stress.
Yeah.
We are a culmination of a variety of hormones, right? It doesn't happen for men. We are just what our hormonal balance is.
Mm.
And even if one goes out of wreck, everything else, and one particular hormone that is literally playing a havoc in all of us is cortisol, which is your stress hormone, more than men. And also, men don't think so much like women do. And so that's the biggest challenge. I know food, I know there's lack of, but everything somehow the root cause always comes down to some kind of stress. And it's also as a woman, I think most of us we have so many responsibilities at home, at work, and we want to 100% give 100% to each and every role. That kind of a perfectionist, this thing is there in our mentality, especially when it comes to your kids, right? And yeah, I think that's the single biggest challenge I see in.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that there. And I think stress is definitely, one of the biggest sort of problems and things people go through. So, thank you for sharing that there. And the next rapid fire question that I have
Yeah.
for you is one yoga pose that you love.
One yoga pose that I love.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's Swati, you're asking a very difficult question right now. Um, okay. I
If
think
you were to choose one.
the practice as such is what I love, and I'm not exaggerating. Then let me go with headstand. It's going to be inversion. Yeah, the first Shirshasana which I did continues to still be my most meditative state of being.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that there. And the final question that I have for you is, do you think yoga is being adapted or diluted in modern culture? And how do you balance tradition with innovation in your teaching?
I don't think so, firstly.
Okay.
It's not sustainable, even if it is being done that way. Um, like again, when I say innovation, I don't try to. I mean, I try to literally my idea when I go to the class to teach. I firstly look at my students. I understand where each one of them is coming from, what their goals are, right? As a teacher, as a practitioner, yes, I love the traditional Mysore Ashtanga style of practice. But over the years, I've also realized that there are certain limitations for me in few postures, right? Because of my knee and all of that. So I don't push myself. At the end of the day, I'm like, this is not a competition, right? If this doesn't suit me right now, if it's not serving any purpose to me, I'm not going to like really be stupid because that has to be done that way. I don't think the great teachers who have created that also was the intention behind doing that. So when you talk about innovation, for me, innovation comes in the class, in that moment, what I feel is best suited for that particular, demographic of students practicing then. And I also, honestly, I keep learning a lot. Like every day, I have 1 hour of my time before I go to bed where I keep investing in myself through learning because I feel the day you don't learn, it's really very difficult to you have to be a good student to be a good teacher, in short, right? So when I keep learning, I think my brain beautifully also creates its own sequence. I'm like, oh, so this can also be integrated into that kind of a class, or something like that. So it just happens in that moment. I really don't think about it so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that there.
Yeah.
I think that's really well said. And of course, thank you for sharing your yoga journey with me and your amazing initiatives there. And I'm very excited to obviously learn more in the future. So that is our end of our questions. Amani, thank you so much for joining me in the 77th episode. It was really lovely speaking with you, and I hope we're able to do this again.
Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank everyone else who's yet.
Thank you, Swati.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I'd also like to thank everyone else who's yet to listen to the 77th episode. And until next time, I hope everyone has a great day. And thank you so much for joining me, Amani. Thank you.